Hey guys, welcome to Misha Designs. I'm Ayana Gomez, and in today's video I'm going to be tackling a request to refashion a curtain. Now I took this curtain from my mother's closet with her little curtain cupboard stash. I don't think she's gonna miss it because every time she needs to change her curtain she uses a new one, so I don't think she's gonna miss this. So for this refashion, I am going to refashion this into a top, and because the curtains have these really cool grommet lining, I actually want to use this on a refashion that I want to do of this high-waisted jeans that I have that I can no longer fit in because I kind of gained a little extra some. So yeah, and also the crotch area is in a mess, so I'm just gonna do a bit of refashioning of this into a short, and I'm gonna incorporate the grommet aspect of the curtain. So let's get started. Okay, so the first refashion I'm gonna do is with the jeans and one of the curtains. So because the jeans doesn't really fit me the way it used to anymore, I have decided that I want to turn it into a kind of baggier shorts, fitted at the waist but loose around my legs. And I really believe that adding this extra width right here with the grommets will give me the width that I need to get a comfortable fit around my waist, and also a looser fit around the side of my legs here. So that's the plan. Okay, mind the dog, that's the neighbor's dog. That's one of the things of being outside. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is fold my pants, as I always do when I am creating shorts. There we go. And to be on the safe side, I am going to go 7 inches down from the crotch point. I'm going 7 inches down to cut at that point. As always, I like to draw a line to give myself a guide, even though it's a rough guide, to give myself a guide when I'm cutting. So I would always recommend creating that guideline. This is not my usual scissors. Okay. Right now, my next goal is to cut the jeans down the side on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead, take my scissors, and cut open the side of the pants. Okay, so now that I've opened out the side of the pants, I need to measure out the length that I'm gonna need to fill in this area. So I'm gonna just put this aside, and I'm going to work with this grommet area here. Now, I don't really need the full curtain, I just need the grommet area. So that is what I'm going to cut out. Okay, so I have my grommet piece, and I am praying and hoping that the length is good enough to give me for both sides. So to find out how much I need, I'm just gonna measure, take my ruler and I'm gonna line up the top of my pants till the end right here to see the length. It is 19 inches in length. I'm a little worried because I don't know. I'm gonna fold this in half and see if it gives me 19 inches in length, which I doubt. Oh, it gives me more than 19, so I have more than enough. So I'm actually going to cut this in half. There we go. And this is what is going to happen now. Because the width is giving me enough fabric to give me some seam allowance on both sides, I'm not going to try to cut anything. I'm using this exact width. And I'm simply going to line this up right side, facing right side. And I'm going to use the hemmed end of the piece to put it up at the waistband area. So I wouldn't have to do that. I wouldn't have to hem it up. I'm just going to take my other piece and do the same thing that I did to this side, to this open side. Once I have both pieces attached to the jeans, I'm simply just going to go to the sewing machine and run my stitch to attach it to the jeans. Okay, so I'm almost finished with my shorts. I added the extra piece of the curtain here with the grommets onto the side for a nice style, and I tried it on and I love the way it looks. Now I went in again and I made an extra cut for length, and making that extra cut, I was able to cut away that distressed portion of the crotch area there, so I don't have to worry about patching it. So for the top, my plan is to have some puffy sleeves or some puffy off shoulder sleeves and a cute tube top. Now that's always my easy go-to top design whenever I want to create a top really quickly. That and one of those cute tie knots. As a matter of fact, I think that's what I want to do. I think I want to create a tie knot top with puffy sleeves. Now I've never done puffy sleeves before, and I think that this will be a really cool material to make it out of because it's very thin and I'm not going to feel warm after creating it. So I have my two curtain pieces, one that still has its grommets and the other where I cut off the grommets. So the one where I cut off the grommets, I'm going to use that to create my sleeves. And the one with the grommets, I'm going to use this one to create my top. Now, right, the most I'm going to do to make it a bit wholesome, because as I said, it's a very thin material, is I'm going to fold it in half. Now, those cute tie tops, especially the one I created with the black shorts that I did for my vacation, my staycation trip, one like that is what I'm going to make out of this. So basically, it's super easy. You just make sure that the material you're using is just enough. Now, obviously, it's too long where it is here in length, but that's okay. Because I'm going to roll that up, and I'm going to use all this extra material here just to show you how I'm going to move forward with this. But I'm going to cut everything neater. All right. Now, as you can see, all it took was me putting a tie, and again, obviously I'm gonna neaten all this up, but I'm just showing you guys how easy it is to create these tie tops. And that's it right there. Now again, I know it looks a bit untidy. That's because I have too much material here. But as you can see, once it's neatened and hemmed where it needs to be hemmed, this is how the back is gonna look. I'm gonna leave that extra, right? I'm not gonna do anything. The only thing I'm gonna do here is actually neaten all of my edges, especially the raw edges that will be showing at the bottom, because I will be cutting this a bit. And when I add my puffy sleeves at the top here, I will have extra support in keeping the top up. So the support that the top is gonna have, because I'm not gonna do any straps with this, it's gonna be a strapless top just with my puff sleeves. And what is gonna hold it, as I said, and support everything is the puffy sleeves that I'm gonna attach. That is gonna keep the top on me, as well as the knot that I create, which is gonna hold everything in place and together. So let's get started and move forward with creating this tie top aspect and neatening up the amount of material that will be needed to create this effect. Alright, so after deciding on how I'm going to move forward, I need to remove the grommets area on this piece because I don't need it. So I'm just going to put this aside, and this other piece, I'm also going to put this aside. I'm going to start working on this. Now, as I said, because it's thin, I'm going to fold it in half. Now, this is still too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half again. And I'm just going to look and see if this length is perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stitch. Okay, I'm now realizing that I have this inside out. I'm folded wrong side. So I need to go on the right side and then fold it again. And what I'm going to do is clip this in place, because I am going to go to my machine. I'm going to go to my machine, sorry, and I am going to run a stitch to close off, because right now, let me turn this to you, because it's to me right now. So what I'm gonna do as I fold, because you notice that I fold it twice. I fold it in half and then I fold that in half again to get the ideal width that I need. And also, because I fold it so many times, I now have a nice thick piece. It's not see-through as it was before. And again, as I said, this is an ideal width to cover my bust. There we go. Oh, I love it already. There we go. It's enough to cover my bust, because you know bust coverage is important. And I love this extra madness going on right here. I actually love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. Oh my goodness, I'm getting an idea. Okay, so basically, here we go. Again, I know it's not neat. I have not stitched it together, so right now pieces are kind of going a whack. but once I stitch it in place, it's gonna lay nice and flat in the back there. And again, it's enough to cover my bust area, as you can see. So let me just untie this again. This back in place. And I'm going to continue pinning this in place so that when I go to the machine, I can just run that straight stitch over this. I've completed the tie aspect, and now it's time to go on to the sleeves. Now I'm going to split this in half lengthways, and I am going to cut it right down the middle so that I'll have two pieces to work with to create my sleeve. Jesus, take the wheel. I hope I cut this thing even-ish. Take my time because I don't want to damage the fabric at the same time. Okay. All right. So I have my two pieces that I'll be using for my sleeve. Now I am not going to go the route of creating a pattern and then using a pattern to create my sleeves. I love to do shortcut stuff, and it always works out for me in the end. And I also like sharing with you guys easier ways to do refashion projects rather than having to do the whole kind of architect aspect of it, measure out, draw, cut, slant, you know. So back to the sleeves. So the width of this is pretty wide, so my plan is to just fold this wrong side facing wrong side on the edges here and just run a stitch all the way down the full length of this. Now because this is going to be my sleeve, I also want to, I'm gonna have to add an elastic because this is not my width, as you can see. Was it done? So I am actually gonna use elastic. So after I stitch the sides shut, creating one big loop kind of thing here, I'm going to fold and create an elastic casing. And unfortunately I only have white elastic, so I'm gonna use that, and I'm not worried because as you can see it's not that bad. And I'm gonna measure out the elastic measurement that I need for my arm, right in the area right where my top is gonna stop, right there. So it's about here. I'm gonna measure out the elastic that I'm gonna need, and when I have it, I'm just gonna filter it through the casing. And once I have that, it's gonna tighten up by my sleeve up, it's gonna tighten up there, and then I'm gonna have all this dynamic puff again in my mind. Obviously this is too long, so I'm also going to cut this to length of my arm after I place my elastic, and I place it on my arm, and I can mark off where I need to cut it. So instead of just talking out the idea, I'm just gonna show you guys and walk you guys through, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna see a pretty awesome shortcut puff sleeve created. So I'm gonna go to my machine and just close off these, create my elastic loop, measure off the piece of elastic that I'm gonna need, filter that elastic through. So when I come back, I'm gonna have a completed sleeve piece for my arm, and at that point I'm going to measure off for length, and I'm also going to be adding a piece of elastic to grip onto my wrist area here, because I'm doing a long sleeve, a full sleeve. So I'm gonna come back. Okay, so I'm finished with my puff sleeves. As you can see, more material, the more material you use, the wider the material, the puffier it'll be when you add your elastic. So I went ahead and placed my elastic around the area, the bottom here. I realized that the higher I take this, the more dynamic the puff is with the sleeve. Now, the next thing to do is to tie the piece around me and just see where I would be attaching the sleeves onto the main tie top aspect, and that's it. I'll be complete. I just love my puff puffs. Okay, so I'm gonna get that done, complete my look, and show you guys the finished product. So guys, there it is, a whole new outfit from my closet, refashioned from curtains. So I hope that I executed the request that was made by one of my followers. And till next time guys, deuces.